I was the guy in the suit yesterday. Fortunately, my friend said I do, so it was a good day overall. And my timer hasn't started yet, so there we go. I'm going to start off by dropping some words on you. So YardBase is an online open community database. So we're thinking about how might we start this. Here's a thought. Maybe we should collect all the data about yoga sessions and then put them online in an aggregated form. And I figured you'd have to be a pretty feeble mind to just stop there. Zero. So what we came up with was YardBase. Sorry. So YardBase is an online database for your community. To use YardBase, it looks something very simple like this. So I construct a query. I'm going to ask for a few things with tags on them. I might filter it with a where, and then I execute it, and when I get the data back, I can do things with that data. So one example of something that we built this weekend on top of the platform that we built is a site that tracks a bunch of the coffee shops in Madison and whether or not they have Wi-Fi. And this is a great example of what can be done with our platform because it's hosted on GitHub Pages, which means that it's served up very quickly and at free cost. And you can go there right now and check it out. You can also just kind of browse all the data that we have. Here we have a bunch of coffee shops. We're adding more data right now. And if you click on one of those, you can see the actual JSON that you would get back from our API. So what are the things that we want to track? Well, there are a ton of things, and the limit is really only our imagination. So first of all, one idea might be that we keep track of the people in our community. Might keep track of places. Might keep track of companies or events, locations, Wi-Fi aspects. You saw that we had Wi-Fi on or off at those coffee shops. Yoga sessions, of course. So we're basically just adding adjectives to this noun of thing. And so one adjective could be that this comes from the City of Madison Open Data database. And so the content that we store with that thing will allow it to be further updated once the city updates their data. So what it is a mini centralized way to keep track of all the data in your community. If we go completely centralized, we end up with Google owning all our data. I'm not sure everyone wants that in this room. But if we go entirely distributed, it becomes a nightmare to manage. So we kind of had this mini centralized amongst our community, maybe people that we trust to hold on to this data. So what are our revenue projections? We were told not to put revenue projections on here, but I thought this was very important to put up there. It's not entirely true. Where we encounter operating costs, we will use sponsorships to take care of that. So our current costs are actually zero. And our at scale costs are really, really low. $15 per month per city. So what you end up having to have is one city, one person, one $15 bill. That's all it takes. And you get 2 gigabytes worth of data for your community to store and query and make really cool applications on top of. So what we have already, what we've built over the weekend, our project homepage, a home site actually with the examples that we created. We have another example that does a word cloud of the upcoming live music events here in Madison this weekend, or this past weekend, I suppose. We have an installation for Madison. We've got some data up there. We have a Twitter account, we have a GitHub organization, and we have our sample applications. So that's YardBase. I was fortunate enough to present this to a group of my potential customers. So I hope you are really excited about this. I'm really excited about building all kinds of applications on top of this. So thank you. We can skip to the QA with my 16 seconds left.
So your target customers are programmers?
Yes.
who want to do a piece of data about Madison?
Yes.
How are they going to know that you're out there?
Well, I just talked to about 100 of them, maybe not 100, 50 of them. I'm well connected with the community, and the plan is to tell as many people about this project as possible. For example, we host a number of meetups at our company every month. We have about 8 or 9 every month, and so we'd be able to spread the love of YardBase to all these. Ruby meetup groups, big data group, meetup groups, etc.
Bradley, does this go beyond Madison? Is this a Madison-only idea, or how does this scale beyond?
So it's free and free Libre open source software, and so any community can download the software off of GitHub and install it for themselves. We are only interested in providing data for the city of Madison. If Middleton wants to do it, we'd be more than happy to show them how to do it. If Tokyo wants to do it, by all means. But this is all about the community and keeping that mini centralized aspect. So to install it, you basically put it up on Heroku for free, and it just works. So.
No, I think it's a great idea. I think it's cool. I guess my question is, I have a number of them. The first one would be, I mean, someone's kind of got to own it for Madison, right? So you're going to own it, or, I mean, someone's got to run it, right?
I'd be happy to pony up $15 a month, yeah.
No, it's not at $15. It's the, I guess what I didn't see is how are you defining the data sets? How do I know what data sets are there? Because I live now in Madison, you get a coffee shop example, music event, but obviously as it becomes yoga or it becomes other things, someone's got to put that data in. And someone's got to define what it looks like and what's useful to what you think might be useful, might not be what I think is useful for those same things. So I guess my question is, would you have multiple people? I mean, is it like a wiki at this point? I mean, do we all get to just put our data up and kind of go nuts? Or I mean, which I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just curious where you think it would go.
We're planning on having this be a curated set of data. The primary reason for that is developers want clean data. We hate dirty data. And if we open it up into a wiki situation, it's just, you're not going to be able to rely on the data being in the places that you expect it to be. Wikipedia is a great example of this. You can't scrape Wikipedia, unfortunately. You can, but it takes a lot of effort. It's not semantic. This is entirely semantic. And so it's not Wild West kind of thing either. So what we have in our system is 2 entities. We have things and we have tags. And so when you add a tag or a label to a thing, what that brings with it is a list of optional fields and a list of required fields. And so if a person is tagged as entrepreneur, we could potentially have a required field of past experience and maybe optional fields all over the place. It's a structured way to get all this data, and we didn't quite have the time to develop kind of discoverability mechanisms for that data to be able to say, really just show me the coffee shop stuff without me having to enter a URL parameter.
But someone's looking at people within the data, right? I mean, so is that going to be you, or who's going to be the data populator?
Right. Currently we have it set up so that admins can enter data. In the future, what we would like to have is a setup so that, for example, the owner of the Majestic can enter data that for events, and the only way they can enter that data is if it's tagged as happening at the Majestic. That's just one example. And so you kind of get some verified crowdsourcing, but we still want to make sure that we have clean data because that's what we as developers want to have.
Any other questions? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.